Like basically loading money onto cars without physically giving money to the store.
Workplaces are often seen as spaces of trust and responsibility, where employees and employers collaborate to achieve common goals. But what happens when that trust is broken? Imagine this: a bustling store, shelves stocked and registers ringing, with managers unaware of the quiet deceit unfolding behind the counter. Suddenly, a young employee is caught siphoning thousands of dollars, turning a place of business into a scene of betrayal. Today, we'll look into the shocking case of a 19-year-old Walgreens worker who exploited her position to carry out a scam of $3,500. From the clever scheme to the emotional fallout and legal consequences, we'll uncover how a moment of desperation led to an irreversible chain of events. Join us as we unpack this gripping story, reflecting on the fragile line between need and dishonesty in the workplace. On September 17th, 2024, at a bustling Walgreens store, the hum of daily operations masks an unfolding deception. Among the employees is a 19-year-old cashier, whose youthful demeanor belies a brewing scheme. Over the past week, she has been discreetly loading funds onto her personal reloadable cards without depositing corresponding cash into the register. This fraudulent activity, amounting to $3,500, goes unnoticed until store management conducts a routine audit. The discrepancies between the register's cash flow and recorded transactions raise immediate red flags. Delving deeper, managers review surveillance footage, which reveals the employee's unauthorized transactions. Armed with concrete evidence, they confront the young woman, who admits to the misconduct, citing financial struggles and the pressures of supporting her infant child. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, store management contacts local law enforcement to address the breach of trust and ensure accountability. The scheme is simple, yet methodically executed. Over 3 days in September 2024, the 19-year-old Walgreens employee exploits her access to the store's registers, carrying out a series of unauthorized transactions. Using reloadable prepaid cards, she loads funds onto her personal accounts while bypassing the cash drawer entirely. These transactions, highlighted in store records as suspicious, are the cornerstone of her $3,500 embezzlement. Each step of the scheme is carefully timed. Surveillance and transaction logs show the frequency of these activities. At 7:42 p.m., 7:49 p.m., 7:51 p.m., and 7:54 p.m., transactions of $100 each are logged within minutes of each other.
She's swiping her own. It's a reload card, swiping that it's $100, hitting $100 cash, not putting any money in the drawer and placing the drawer.
Store management confirms the pattern. Multiple transactions totaling thousands within a matter of days, all flagged as unauthorized. The employee herself later admits to the fraudulent activities during questioning.
Basically loading money onto cars without physically giving money to the store.
She says, her voice filled with hesitation. She acknowledges the extent of her actions.
I know it's wrong because I haven't physically gave the money to the store, but it's basically like I'm basically financially struggling because I have a 5-month-old child, and
she cites her financial burdens, including a 5-month-old child and rent costs, as the driving factors behind her decision. Still, the calculated nature of the transactions suggests a clear understanding of how to exploit the system. While the employee claims desperation as her motive, her actions are an undeniable breach of trust. Her attempt to sidestep detection reveals not only her struggles but also the broader implications of employee theft on workplace integrity. The discovery of the fraudulent activities at Walgreens begins with routine financial oversight. During a standard audit, store management identifies discrepancies between the cash register totals and the recorded sales transactions. Such inconsistencies prompt a closer examination, as they often signal potential internal issues. To pinpoint the source of the discrepancies, management reviews surveillance footage from the dates in question. Managers compiling evidence note that her actions were discovered during an audit.
Yep, she's done it all the last week. I got the video and all the receipts here.
They state, presenting physical and video documentation to the police. The video evidence reveals the 19-year-old employee engaging in unauthorized transactions. Specifically, she is seen processing reloads onto her personal prepaid cards without depositing equivalent cash into the register. This method effectively transfers store funds to her accounts without immediate detection. Highlighted receipts show only her transactions, leaving little doubt about her intent.
Yeah, she moved fast.
Yeah, she did.
One officer remarks, highlighting how quickly the scheme escalated, and so, armed with both transactional records and visual confirmation from the surveillance footage, the management compiles a comprehensive dossier of evidence. Recognizing the severity of the situation and adhering to company protocols, the store's management contacts local law enforcement to report the theft and provide the assembled evidence for further investigation. Upon receiving the report from Walgreens management, local law enforcement promptly dispatches officers to the store to investigate the alleged theft. Officers are greeted by the store manager, who outlines the situation with precision. He presents the evidence meticulously compiled during the internal investigation. This includes transaction logs, detailed receipts, and surveillance footage that clearly shows the employee executing the fraudulent transactions. The manager hands over a folder containing these materials, explaining,
I made a copy for you, and I made all the video for you guys already.
Oh my gosh.
The officers reviewed the documentation, noting the pattern of unauthorized transactions performed over just 3 days. An officer comments after observing the timestamps on the receipts,
Yeah, she moved fast.
Yeah, she did.
which reveal a series of transactions conducted mere minutes apart. With the evidence in hand, the officers locate the 19-year-old employee in the store's office. She appears nervous but cooperative as they initiate the arrest process. Before proceeding, one officer asks,
Have you ever had your rights read to you?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You ever had your rights read to you?
Oh, no, sir.
Okay.
the officer begins reading her Miranda rights.
You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to make any statements or answer any questions. Do you understand?
The employee quietly replies.
Yes.
The officer continues.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to speak with me. Sorry, you have the right to speak with a lawyer for advice before you are asked any questions. You have the right to have a lawyer with you during questioning. Do you understand?
The employee answers affirmatively.
Yes.
Now that you understand your rights, are you willing to answer questions without a lawyer present?
The employee consents.
Yes.
Okay.
In a private area of the store, officers conduct the initial questioning. During the conversation, the employee admits,
I had basically committed a felony, I don't know how to explain it, like basically loading money onto cars without physically giving money to the store.
when asked about her motive, she states,
I'm like basically financially like struggling because I have a 5-month-old child and my rent is like $500, $600 and
Despite her explanation, the officers inform her she will be arrested for theft. After ensuring she has no other store property, they escort her out of the building in handcuffs. This decisive police intervention, supported by detailed evidence from the store, ensures the case moves swiftly into the legal system. The arrest of the 19-year-old Walgreens employee marks the beginning of a serious legal process. After being detained on site and questioned, she is formally charged with retail theft. This charge carries significant implications, especially given the amount involved in her fraudulent activities. Retail theft laws vary by jurisdiction, but in most states, theft exceeding a certain monetary threshold, typically $500, is classified as a felony. In this case, the $3,500 she embezzled places her well into that category, subjecting her to severe penalties under the law. Felony retail theft convictions often result in substantial fines, restitution orders, and the potential for imprisonment. For someone in her position, fines could range into the thousands, further compounding the financial strain she cited as her reason for committing the crime in the first place. Additionally, the court is likely to order her to repay Walgreens the full amount stolen as restitution, adding another layer of financial obligation. Perhaps the most significant consequence, however, is the possibility of incarceration. A felony conviction could lead to a prison sentence ranging from 1 to several years, depending on state sentencing guidelines and whether mitigating factors, such as her cooperating during questioning, influence the court's decision. The broader implications of this case extend beyond the immediate legal penalties faced by the employee. employee theft is a pervasive issue that threatens the stability of businesses across the country. According to studies, employee theft accounts for a significant portion of the $13 billion in goods stolen annually from U.S. retailers. The losses incurred from internal theft often force businesses to raise prices, reduce employee benefits, and, in some cases, close locations entirely. In the case of Walgreens, this incident underscores the importance of strict internal controls to protect against such breaches of trust. Routine audits and surveillance systems play a vital role in detecting anomalies, but they also serve as deterrents for employees who might otherwise exploit vulnerabilities in store procedures. In her interview with officers, the employee acknowledges the gravity of her actions. While her admission demonstrates accountability, it may not be enough to shield her from the full weight of the law. Retail theft laws are designed not only to punish, but to deter future misconduct by sending a clear message about the consequences of such actions. For this employee, the combination of clear evidence, from receipts to video footage, and her own confession, leaves little room for defense. The incident also highlights the challenges faced by employers in maintaining a balance between trust and oversight. While most retail employees perform their duties with integrity, cases like this emphasize the need for vigilance. Walgreens' swift action in identifying the theft, gathering evidence, and involving law enforcement illustrates the importance of proactive measures in addressing internal theft. For businesses, the takeaway is clear. Prevention and accountability must go hand in hand. Robust policies through training and clear communication of expectations are essential in fostering a workplace culture that discourages dishonesty. For the employee, however, the road ahead will likely be difficult. A felony conviction carries long-term consequences that extend far beyond fines and potential imprisonment. It can impact future employment opportunities, housing prospects, and even personal relationships. Employers are often hesitant to hire individuals with theft-related convictions, especially in roles that involve handling money. This creates a cycle of hardship that is difficult to escape, particularly for someone already facing financial challenges. In this context, her decision to embezzle $3,500 may have provided a short-term solution but has resulted in a far greater set of problems. This case serves as an example of the far-reaching consequences of theft, both for individuals and for the businesses they target. It demonstrates the importance of adhering to ethical practices and the need for companies to implement and maintain rigorous safeguards against internal fraud. Ultimately, the legal process will determine the final outcome for the employee, but the broader lessons from this incident resonate across the retail industry and beyond. This case highlights how moments of desperation can lead to choices with far-reaching consequences. What begins as an attempt to overcome financial struggles evolves into a serious breach of trust, impacting not only the individual, but also the workplace and its integrity. The legal system's swift action serves as a reminder of the importance of accountability, while the emotional weight of the situation reveals the complexity of human decisions under pressure. Cases like these remind us of the delicate balance between personal hardship and ethical responsibility. Until we meet again, remember to stay safe and keep informed. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more engaging content.